No, my thing's so low. Let me put my other AirPod in too. There we go.
I mean, it's a beautiful day. Today's Friday. We here. This is the real deal versus how you feel. Everyone, thanks for tuning in today. When you step in the room, make sure you got something to drink. Show a little bit of love. Let us know you're in the building. Anything you want to add to the topic or say, let it fly. But it's Friday. We here. We got some stuff to talk about. A lot of things going on in the world. We got to talk about some things.
Yeah, some real life things at that, right?
Right. Some real life things. Hey, we can't catch a break out here. In my opinion, can't get a break. I'm hoping today I don't hear. Hopefully, I barely check the news, so I hope today I don't check the news today and hear about someone else getting shot and killed. I'm just saying. It's like we got targets on our back. It's like we walk around here like targets. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong. It's kind of hard not to, because every time I turn the TV, I'm hearing about another brother and sister being shot and killed. Miss I Speak Live, you still with me? I see you going out a little bit, so I don't know if you got a
Am I still coming through clear?
Yeah, you coming in through clear. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we have some real life stuff to talk about today. What you said? It's like we got targets on our back.
Oh yeah, you heard all that? Yeah, we got targets on our back. It's target practice out here.
Ain't that something? And it seems like it's real bad. Like, we're not really paying attention, but you remember at one point you would just be really concerned for the man, because you felt like they targeted the man. But at this point, it's like no whole bars. They don't care who it is.
Oh yeah, I mean, I never took it as the men only. I believe women and men, because like I said, previously, I mean, Sandra Bland, she got put over for what? Turn signal failure or whatever, and she ended up dead. Breonna Taylor, she was in a house asleep. So the women are just getting worse as the men.
Those are names that are more recent, but prior to these last 3 years, I think they were a little bit more quiet with how they attack the women.
I mean, that's true.
Like abductions,
yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that.
And stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But now they just outright, all right, you get shot too. Like, whoa, this is crazy. And I'm not trying to make it a male female thing, because that's not my point. My point is really the disregard level has increased. Is more or less what I'm saying.
Right. No, I'm with you. And trust me, I'm not. I'm not taking it that way at all. But I do understand that there is a war out there, and if you think nothing's going on, then you're the problem. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're certainly part of it. That's for sure. I was just having a real quick conversation with my sibling. It's actually where I'm leaving now. So I'm leaving my siblings, and that's one of the things that was the first thing said. Like, if you're not on your A game, if you're not tapped in. When we say tapped in, like, you understand your role and how negative energy and just like black on black crime, or not being ambitious, not educating yourself, like all of those things continue to perpetuate their agenda. Then you don't understand that you are part of the problem.
No
you play a significant part of the problem.
I agree.
So yeah,
But ladies and gentlemen, you see the
title. I heard we had a message.
Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, you see the title today is Senseless Shootings and the Impact They Leave. So we won't hit play, we're going to chop it up and go from there.
Go ahead.
So in the talk, it says time heals all wounds. And my boyfriend, he is the type of person that likes to just let bygones be bygones. But if I really appreciate and want something to be better, I will take the time and know the appropriate time to go back and try to figure out that situation. Doesn't mean I have to do it right there and then and make a big deal out of it, but I can respect my feelings and my thoughts in those moments and try to help myself figure out how to get out of those bad feelings.
Oh, I see what happened there. She's looking at Monday's show topic. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for the comment. Unfortunately, you're looking at the next show's topic, so your comment was really toward that topic. But you know, no disagreement with what you said. Hopefully, if you're really passionate about this situation, you'll come and join us on Monday to really engage in that conversation. But today we are talking about senseless shootings and the impact they leave. Senseless shootings. And note that when we say senseless shootings, we didn't say cops shooting black folks. We didn't say, black folks shooting black folks. We just said senseless shootings, period. People are losing their lives senselessly, and we're all impacted. When you think about the black person that may take another black person's life, their family has to face that consequence, that aftermath, how people look at them, how they're viewed in the community. The person who actually did the crime could be in jail somewhere or could have lost their lives themselves, but who's left to pick up the pieces or with the, like I say, with the rubble and the debris of the situation. So, and yeah, that's what we're talking about today, though. But thanks again for the comment. Twin.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm here. It just
this one is heavy. This one's heavy because we just had so much this week. But we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it. You
right.
know?
Here's the crazy thing about it, right? So, when you think about Wednesday, the verdict come in, right, and the guy's found guilty for all 3 charges, which is cool, right? And everyone's up in arms. Everybody's happy. They feel like it's a celebration. Yeah. Listen, it's definitely a win, right? But it's not the end all be all, right? I mean, it was to the point where my company had a team meeting to discuss about it, right? The next day. Hey, guys, we want to talk about it, blah, 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 blah. And I really had nothing to say. My mom always told me, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all, right? Because I can't be happy about something that shouldn't even been a problem in the first place, right? So the first thing happened, the person got convicted, all 3, right? But less than 15, less than 5, 10 hours after that, we have another senseless shooting, right? So it's like, so technically we made no forward step because we took 1 step forward and guess what? We 5 steps back. I mean, not even 24 hours. Not even 24 hours that we have another person now we got to do a hashtag for. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the situation. Yep. And I'm not even trying to get in depth with that situation. I'm just going to say this right here, which is a pure fact across the board. The girl had a knife in her hand when the cops showed up. Yes. Did she drop when he said it? No. The girl got shot. Okay, I understand that. You can look at history. We have hundreds of mass shooters who actually kill somebody but get handcuffed with no scratches. That's the problem that I have. That's the part right there. I feel that everyone should get the same opportunity when the police arrive to the scene, right? Everyone should get the same opportunity to get arrested, go to court, and fight for your life, right? Cool. But most of us don't get that opportunity. They'll pull up to the scene.
None of us do.
Right. They'll pull up to the scene and stop, pop, 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 over. But we had a guy here in Atlanta, Georgia, who went to 2 different masseuse places and shot people up, and he got peacefully handcuffed. We had Dalen Roof go into a black church and shoot multiple people and kill them, and then take them to Burger King. Mass shooter in Pittsburgh. A guy went out to the synagogue and shot up Pittsburgh, with a Jewish area, where I'm from. He killed the cop, and guess what? He got taken in with no scratches. That's the problem that I have.
Right.
That's the problem I have.
And that's the major problem, because then when you talk about the aftermath, right, and the impact that has, what does that say to a person of a different race or culture? Oh, okay, well, this is what perpetuates these people to continue to do those types of things, because they have a safety net. They know, okay, at the end of the day, either they just on the strength that they're of a different race, or they're of the what the world seems to consider the elite race, they're Caucasian, that they have a safety. When the police arrive, they're entitled to a certain response from the police that we don't have. It don't exist for us. You see this way. If it's a traffic, right?
Mm-hmm.
A traffic stop, the person, a black person ain't going. They don't get the opportunity to go back and forth, back and forth. You know what I mean? But when you say your rights as a white person versus as a black person, those rights are looked at differently. And that's part of it that we don't really talk about. We just talk about the effect that it has on us as a people. But I feel like what it really does is it really perpetuates the mind of the white person to continue to do and misbehave and act in these unseemly ways, and have all of these different crimes and stuff, because they're protected. We talk about this in a similar way when we have private conversations amongst ourselves about certain things that may translate the same way when it comes to a woman and a man, and in terms of expressing frustration, and without getting out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like, oh well, I'm protected on some extra level, then you might be likely to do more damage, because you don't have the caution, you don't have the sense that you could be in trouble. And we saw that this week on Wednesday when that man heard guilty. You saw the confusion on his face.
Right, he couldn't believe it. Like, really? I'm guilty? Like, it was a
Like,
shocker.
what are you? I'm a white man. How could I be guilty? Like, you could see the confusion on his face. Like, he felt like he was just doing his job.
That part. Stand on someone's neck
So
for 9 minutes is no one's job. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, and we need to stop trying. It's not working. Us making this an issue about us and how we're impacted now. We feel, because we already know that. But look at the psychological break that's happening, where these people don't even realize, because it's being bred this way, that it's not being addressed properly, to where they even see the value of life. Where you could be that confused on your face when you hear guilty. Like, sir, you didn't know you were guilty this whole time?
Right. Not guilty, had no emotion.
He had never seen a jail cell. He had not been in handcuffs until Wednesday.
Right. That right there. That right there. Let that marinate for a second. This man been free about a year ago, right? He been in a year, right? Am I right? About a year?
Yeah, like this whole
He been traveling.
And nothing. Traveling, living his life, unaware of the fact that he was actually, you know what I mean? Like, my thing is the mental. It did not sink into this man's head that he took a life.
That part right
Had
there.
this been a white man that he had mistakenly killed, like there was a real accident, and this is how you know it's not an accident, because there's no connection. It's a disconnect.
That part right there.
Floyd's lifeless body didn't register to him as a lifeless body. It just registered as a dead black man.
Yeah.
And you can see that. That is evident in the way he continued to carry on his life with his family. You can see it clearly when you watch the live video. If you were able to watch it live, or if you were able to catch a video of live, you can see it clearly. It's evident that this man was not in any way, shape, or form prepared to hear guilty. He was in shock, he was stunned, and he was confused. Like, what the heck?
I mean, I'll be honest with
you. And it's not even like it was explained to him that he was guilty. It's almost like he's just a guinea pig to kind of smooth it over, because then look what happened.
That part.
5 hours later, here's another life gone.
I agree. And
No communication, no words. You didn't speak to no one on the scene to find out what was happening, and no taser. Here we go again. Not what, a week or 2 weeks or so ago with the lady, the officer Kim,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That was considered what, air quotes, mistake.
Right. From a taser into
So
a
how do you
gun.
not decide taser this young girl, especially because it's a group of people? How do you know who's whom? She's not running in your direction, so your life's not on at risk.
That part right there.
Yeah, that's no excuse, man. No excuse for this.
Let me.
And we need to start redirecting our energy to the mind of these people, and showing like, look, forget how we feel. Not forget it, but I put my feelings aside. Let's look at how this is really impacting them and how they're being bred and all of that, because that's really the problem.
Mm-hmm. Let me hit play here, and then I'm gonna follow up with something else. Okay.
Go ahead.
No problem.
Right. I get misjudged a lot on here. I sound really young, but I'm 22. Don't mean that I'm wise or nothing, but I don't live in the best area. And there's constant drive-by. I had to board up my windows because they shot my mom's window with a BB gun, and they killed my dog. And it's crazy because these are our own people. I'm Hispanic. So, minority fighting minority, and it's like, why? But it's all due to classification to keep us in order and check.
That's a fact. We call that projects.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They put you in a situation with limited resources, and only the strongest survive. That's why some people, when they make it to a certain place in life, they leave the neighborhood. They don't leave the neighborhood because they feel they're better. They leave because living in that neighborhood was a project, was a test, and they fought through it. They survived it. They didn't leave because it wasn't better for their families, their friends. And they know the people that leave behind it, and the people that leave behind, they're going to be jealous of them, all that. So that's why people leave the hood. They're not leaving the hood because they feel they're better. It's like they want better. It's not they better. I'm going to say that again. It's not because they're better. They just want better. They leave the hood because they want better, not better. Understand that part, ladies and gentlemen. But
right. And some of us, we then feel again like we have no choice because we're tasked with being parents.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's no longer rep my city, rep my culture. I have a responsibility and accountability to protect a child now. So you try to figure, okay, what's the best way I can protect my child? And if the culture, the people haven't developed a system where we could police each other or hold each other accountable, if we engage with shooting, then I'm not protected on no front, not by my people or by the police. The police already got a target on my back, so I'm 2 losses already.
That's facts. And let me say
and
this.
that doesn't mean.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. No. Finish what you're saying, please.
I was gonna say that doesn't mean that when you move, because I'm a product of that. Doesn't mean when you move to from an urban area to a suburban area that that just automatically provides protection.
Not at all.
What it does is it gives you an opportunity to be exposed to other opportunities that don't exist in this world where you're already got a target on your back. The target is still on your back. It's just a different type of target.
Facts.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about bullets flying in your window. Allegedly. You don't have to worry about bullets flying in your window, but you still have to worry about being openly
harassed, bullied, all that. I can give you an example of that. Exactly. I can give you a perfect example for that. When I was growing up, I lived in the projects, not for a long time, but I lived in the projects at one point, and we moved to a pretty decent suburban neighborhood, right? And, of course, we were one of the first black. Matter of fact, when I first moved there, I was maybe the second or third black family there, right? And so, of course, You know, like you just said, I'm dodging. I'm no longer dodging bullets, sewer rats, people breaking your house. But now I'm dealing with a different type of violence or harassment, and it's to the point
Target,
where,
yeah.
and yeah, I'm still another target because I had people putting chicken wings after they ate them in my mailbox. I had people egging my house, well, the apartment we was living in, my dad's car, right?
That's crazy.
Was getting bullied, getting jumped, all these things. So even though I'm out the hood, right, I'm still in a different scenario and I'm still got targets on my back. So like I just said before, it's not that I am better, I just want better, right? And to speak on the topic here, senseless shootings and impact they leave. This topic here, I love it because this is something I actually, me personally, you think about senseless shootings and the impact they leave. Was it 2011 when Trayvon was murdered, right? I want to say, because my Brown was 2012, so I want to say Trayvon was 11, right? R.I.P. Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin. He was shot and killed senseless for no reason. He did nothing. He had no weapon on him, right? And the impact of the leave. Here's the impact of the left for me, because I followed that case from the beginning to the.
12.
Okay, cool. I followed that case from the beginning all the way to the end. I mean, I was watching CNN every day after work, during work. I was getting text messages. I was watching the case. Me personally, I thought that was a shoe-in. I thought it was a slam dunk. He's going to be guilty, all this stuff, right? And then once they gave the verdict and they said not guilty, oh, man, I was done after that. Like, at that point, I was done with the legal system, any type of hope. That's why, like, now on Wednesday when they played the verdict, I didn't even watch it. I didn't watch none of it. I didn't even follow it because I didn't want to continue seeing that video of 9 minutes that I do on his neck for 9 minutes. I didn't want to I didn't want to relive that trauma over and over again, right? And also, I didn't want to get my feelings all built up, right? Just so they could say not guilty and he could be crushed some more. So I didn't even follow none of that stuff. Trust me. How I found out that he was guilty, people send me text messages like, oh, he's guilty. I'm like, whoo, well, that's good. But the point I'm trying to make is that because what happened back in 2012 with Trayvon Martin, I have been disconnected as far as expecting to get any results when anyone is killed senseless. You understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense what I'm saying? Because that's the impact.
No, that makes sense. That's the desensitization.
That's it right there. Because I've been desensitized.
Like, that hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Go ahead.
And it's like, it's the impact of it. Because you then have to go back into protection mode. Now you got to protect your energy, your peace, but then also at the other end of that, you are disconnecting from a fight that we all have to fight in some level. So it's like, well, it's such a dynamic that is hard. And that's why I say, I feel like maybe we need to refocus and refocus the energy so that we don't continue to be desensitized, right? Because you see that in our community. Uproar when a black brother or sister takes another life of a black brother or brown brother, like the person who left the message. She was saying how they done shot her mom's window up and she had to board the window and then took the life of the dog, and that's what a BB does. So if you really live in a different type of area, this is like real life stuff, and it shouldn't be talk about the mental state, because I feel like that's the core. Like you, Twins, like I said, I'm a product of that. I moved to a suburban area, and in the process of being in a suburban area, I worked in an area that was very racist. We're talking about this is their town,
Right.
Like, I was called the N-word to my face by a white man. I worked in a facility with people who are at a disadvantage because of their understanding and not fully functioning, certain words we don't use anymore. But these people were bred, they were trained to think this way. They were trained to see a person of my complexion, just my complexion, and respond and say the N-word. That's what they were trained to do. Now, do I hold this against the client, this case, this person that I'm here to help because they can't do for themselves? I'm watching this person. I'm making sure this person We got to get to the mind of it and start calling these people out and stop trying to flip the narrative and make the N word a positive. No, let it be a negative and call them out when they use it. Because all we're doing is being desensitized. And now on some level, we accept it. We accept it. You either going to accept it or you decline. We accepting it. And that's my take on it. We need to let our no be a no, our yes be a yes. Say what we mean what we say. Stand for something or fall for anything.
Right. And I think you were saying this earlier in the conversation, when people, when somebody want to say black on black crime, right, whatever, that's a myth, right? Because as you said earlier, see the difference between, when we talk about black on black crime, first off, they don't care about black on black crime. They don't care what happened. They're happy to hear that we take each other out. They know that for a fact. No one is really checking for it. I mean, if it was a really big deal and y'all really cared about it, y'all would go to these places in Chicago, Detroit, whatever, where the crime rate is high as hell, put the money in and fix the crime. But America don't care about that. They say they want us to do better. Then put the money and resources in the locations so people are not there trying to survive. Because that's all it is. Those are projects areas. People are put in those situations. They were put in those locations with limited resources, and they have to fend for themselves. I know one of them places where there's a certain time frame where, hey, no police is coming between these hours from 10 or 12 o'clock or whatever time it is. I can't remember what it was, but there's certain places in one of those two states where they don't have police. You call 911, don't ask you where you at. They can say, well, you better come out that city. We'll meet you at the edge, but we're not coming in there. That is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So, but once again, the system was set up and designed that way for that to be a happen. But for people to say that stupid, ignorant statement saying about what about black on black crime, stop it. Because when you look at the history of America, we don't kill as many as y'all have killed if we won't keep it 100% all the way. Simple as that. Just saying. So
when you say that, the first thing comes to my mind is we got to see the agenda. That's why I keep going back to the mindset, because there's the mission, there's an agenda, and we're being distracted by just outrage on one end, or when it's this or that. We should be outraged. Period. The fact that you can live in a city, right, or in a city where one of the cities there's no violence, right, or low violence.
Right.
You cross the street, you're in a different city, but all of a sudden they got garbage cans on the corner. They got police officers walking the beat. Why is it that I could be in the city of North and be on South Orange Avenue, and if I'm on downtown South Orange Avenue, then you come midway, like the number street, it's a whole different animal, and then you go up South Orange Avenue to actual South Orange, and it's peace. It's mansions. You got houses that are $500,000 on the same avenue as the project. Yellow tape every day almost. To me, I need to be outraged. Like, why aren't we getting the same treatment as them right up the street? Forget leaving your state or even the county. We're talking in the same. The city is literally across the street. I grew up on the street where if you go like 15 blocks up, you think you're in a whole different area. You're in a whole new neighborhood. Why aren't we uproar? Why are we, protesting and marching and standing in front of our city official offices?
And you know why? Because we're up the street, because that's that red line. See, when you do a little bit of research, you learn and understand how things are set up that way. Like you just said, probably less than 5 miles up the street, you have a peaceful, beautiful, nice area. But outside of that, before that, no, it's not. But because it's the red line, they make sure to put us on one side of the location and put everyone else on the other side, and make sure the other side has more resources than the other side that doesn't. You understand what I'm saying, Miss I Speak Life?
Because that perpetuates the black on black crime.
Exactly.
That's the separate. That's what I'm saying. So we don't look. No, we're not doing that. We have to. Those of us that could afford to live in some of these suburban areas need to start standing on the same councilmen, those same city official offices, mayor's offices, protesting that there's equality. Give these kids the same education you give them in, South Ward that you give them in North Ward.
That part right there.
It's the ability behind it. It's the agenda. And I know we got a message. I don't want us to get too far because, it'll be delayed. So let's try to go ahead and play the message and then, we can keep it going.
I don't, there's not a message there unless they retract it. But if you're a listener.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I said there's no message.
Oh, okay.
But if anyone's listening, we'd definitely like to hear your thoughts on the senseless shooting and the impact they leave. Because, what one of the main impacts it does leave is that mental trauma. It's that, you have the fear. Because at this point now, if there's a situation going on, do I really want to call the cops? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I really want to call them and get them involved? Because, especially, it's like, you're really on your own at this point now. Like, you have to make a decision is it really worth calling the police on a situation that you may be going through? Is it really, you understand what I'm saying, Miss I Speak Life? It's like, dang, I'm having a confrontation with my neighbor, but do I really want to call the police? Because especially if they're white, they show up and see us, they're going to run straight to them to defend them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's no trust, the lack of trust, fear, all those things. So it's like, I don't know what to do, or do I want to do anything?
Right, but that goes back to the desensitization and how the real impact is so many different variables. And no one who can judge, right, you to say, oh, well, you shouldn't respond or you shouldn't feel that way. That's where and then it just continues to perpetuate the division. And those are the devices. And we need to look at all of these different things so that way, wherever we fall in, whatever category we fall in, like, dang, yeah, that really bothered me. All right, so you don't need to look at the verdicts and stuff like that, but we need you to get educated so that you can get into the seat of a councilwoman or man, because you're empath, you're empathetic, but you're not built for the, the upfront. And then let's start encouraging each other to, get in position.
Yeah.
That's going to help us build.
Yeah.
Not tear each other down. Okay, so what? You're not built for the upfront. Everybody's not built to be on the front line. That doesn't mean anything. We need people on the front, the middle, the back. You don't hear that, though. It's like, oh, you can't do this, that, and that. Okay, yeah, you're good at that, so I don't need to do it. So you go do that and show me where I can fit in. We need to get that get in where you fit in mentality. And like you were saying, in terms of the lack of trust, if we use these more encouraging words to help each other get into positions that are more fitting for us individually so that we could be a part of the solution, and stop limiting us to, oh, you just got to be one or the other. Either you got to be on the front marching, or, you got to not care at all, or you don't care at all. No, there's other ways of engagement and changing the narrative.
Yeah. And the problem with that is that
goes even to us as parents, teaching your kids, listen, when you are, approached by the police, you have to be able to shut it down. It's hard to say, but you're going to have to shut down your ego, shut down your pride, shut down your identity, shut it down. I saw a video with a man with a uniform on. He was a lieutenant or something. I don't want to mess it up because I want to honor his ranking. But he was serving. He's a one that serves the country. Mm-hmm. They pulled the man over. He had his a dog in the back seat. He had tinted windows. Pulled him over. He didn't know why he was being pulled over. One thing I can say about this situation that was different from some of the other situations that I had seen that led to more tragic situations, because this was still tragic, but I mean, like, loss of life tragic, was at all times, this man didn't care what they were saying. He made sure they saw his hand.
Yeah.
To the point where the officer had to open the door. He had been maced 4 times.
Yeah.
Well, and at all times, that man made sure his hands were seen.
I mean, you have to, though, and when they pull up on you, and that's so, young brothers and sisters, if you're ever in a traffic stop and they pull up on you with their guns already out, you know what I'm saying? Before they even walk to your car, ask for license and registration, if they come to you hot, they're hot. This dude, they pulled him over and they had their guns out as if he done robbed a bank, he done killed somebody, he done, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what I don't know what the traffic violation was. Because like I said, I've been so desensitized. I don't even follow up no more. I saw the situation, but I know exactly what happened. But the point is, what I'm saying, when they pull you over and they got the guns drawn, I don't care whatever they ask you to do, you keep your hands out the whole time. Let them see your hands the whole time. For real. Especially if you know, if you know personally you did nothing wrong, you got nothing on your record. You know what I'm saying? You know you didn't do nothing. Man, keep your hands out the whole time. Let them open your door for you, because if that guy would have reached in the car to, I don't know, unbuckle a seatbelt, you know what I'm saying? They would have lit him up. They was already on fire. They'll get out the car.
They had already maced him.
Right.
They had already maced him several times, and he's like, at the end of the day, his hands still out the window. Like, do whatever you're doing. You can tell her, I'm not an attacker.
I'm not a threat.
Your life is not in harm's way. Why are you attacking me this way? And that's the mindset. Because why did the man need to be maced at all if his hands are up?
Right.
It was unnecessary.
Well, that's because they see us as
a threat. It was unnecessary.
Yeah, no, it was.
They're fearful. They're afraid of us.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you should not be a cop if you're afraid. It's just that simple. That's like me being a pilot, flying people all around the world, but when it starts raining, I'm going to get scared. I'm going to be scared flying, a little turbulence. I'm going to crash because what happened?
Right.
I was afraid.
You're afraid of heights.
Right. I'm afraid of heights. But
that's like you being a pilot and you're afraid of heights. But how does that work?
How's that work?
You in the air all day. How?
You know what he's going to say? I don't look down.
But think about it. What you're saying makes sense. Like, and then when you think about it, these people are trained, right? So where does the training go?
So,
when they're faced with us, like where's all of the training that is put in for you to be considered an officer? What sets you apart from me is the fact that you have life or death training. You should be able to de-arm a person. Isn't that part of the training?
See, I would assume, and I would hope this, I'm not a police officer, but I would hope, they will have either every 6 months, a situational training, intense, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have, like, you need to have that training every 6 months, if not every month, but at least every 6 months have it. Because here's what happened. When people do join the force, right, they go through that training at the beginning, right? But guess what? Once they get their badge and all that, don't gotta do that no more. All they do, they may go to the range and practice shooting, right? Make sure they get their aim up. That's all they do. But they're not doing no situational, heart beat up, heart risk.
So they don't have to do tactic training, continuous tactic training?
No, it's not continuous.
Throughout their career?
No.
See, that's part of the problem right there.
I mean, think about it. The lady who
we live in an evolving world. How are you going to continue the same practices that you did, when you first walked into a situation, years later, and you have different types of energy, a whole different type of climate.
Listen, Miss Speak Live, think about this. Think about the lady who just shot and killed the person at the traffic stop because she thought she grabbed her taser, right? She's 26 years into the service, right? As a police officer. 26 years. That's a long time. right? That's like 80% of my life, okay? Then on top of that, she's also a trainer. So how are you, one, as a trainer, and 26 years of experience, you mistakenly choose your gun versus a taser? And the taser,
No, it just don't make.
The taser don't, right? And to add to that, because I have some guns, ladies and gentlemen, and the taser doesn't weigh nowhere near close to a gun. And most cops have a Glock 19. That's what the standard gun that they have. Glock 19 does not feel nothing like a taser on weight. You understand what I'm saying? And it's on the opposite side of you as well.
Right.
It's on the opposite side of you. So if your dominant hand is right,
exactly.
So to say that you made a mistake, I call bullshit.
Not to mention it was held in front of you for you like the weight difference. You know, we know what it is to hold a Glock 19 in our hand. And then she didn't just shoot one time. It'd be different if she only shot one. You know the recoil on the Glock 19 versus your taser.
Right. And plus, also add to it.
You mean?
Also to add to it is yellow. Listen, I could see when they play back the body cam, she pulled a gun out and shoot him like, oh shoot, wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, like that reaction, like, oh no, wrong gun. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't the reaction.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, and then why would you? Where on the taser do you have to keep pulling the trigger though?
That part right there, because once you shoot one time with the taser, you got to retract it and do it again.
Hello, right?
26 years.
It got to boot back up, right? I'm not all the way familiar with a taser, so don't get me wrong, guys. But from what I've seen, my understanding is that when you initially shoot and the taser does the lead click on to someone and then you can't just keep click. You know, it's not like busting off at the gun range. That's different.
Right, because one, it got to stay connected to the taser gun so it can send electricity shot to you. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah.
Right. So isn't that like you pull the trigger and you hold it for the coil to connect and the waves reach? Yeah. So where's the continuous busted, motion? How does that happen? It don't happen. We got to think about these things. We know exactly what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and stop trying to. We're not gonna waste time on trying to make it make sense. That's another form of desensitization. Like, no, it don't make sense. Wrong is wrong. Right is right. She needs to be checked out. She needs to be canceled. Period. So like that. She's psychologically unstable. See, they don't like when you talk about their mental state, but really, it's just that's what it is.
Yeah, and that seems to be a cop out everywhere. Every time somebody do something, is you dealing with mental issues. That's like, if you're a mass shooter, they're always gonna say, "I'm dealing with mental issues." That's the number one cop out thing they say all the time. But listen, thinking about the even though this didn't lead to anyone getting shot or killed, right? Did you see the video of the young black boy and his friend were walking in the neighborhood, and another Army person, lieutenant, whatever, was harassing the young black man? You understand what I'm saying? He was you may not saw it, but the guy, he needs to be.
Was it a young guy? He was like shoving him around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
Yeah, I
didn't see the video.
Right, but at the end of the day, I mean, of course, thank God it didn't lead to no one getting shot and killed. But the guy was he's a grown man, right? This dude had to probably be either 18, he might have been 16, between 21, somewhere in that range. He was a young little dude. He was skinny.
Yeah, I think he was around 15.
Okay, wow, he's even younger. And this guy was a grown man, lieutenant, is pushing this guy around. So here's a problem that I have. The guy who was pushing around, this dude so apparently the guy was in his house, right? Or either sitting on his porch, whatever, because when you ran up on the young black man, this dude had no socks on. He was barefoot. So that means you had to come out your way. You know what I'm saying? You had to run outside real quick to have this confrontation with this black man for no reason. Right. And put your hands on him. But let that boy would have had a gun or a bat or a knife or something. Whenever the situation would have escalated so bad, and it'd have been like, well, he shouldn't do XYZ. No, that man should have kept his hands to himself. I mean, honestly, the fact that he walked up on him, your life is in danger, right? You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what?
Yeah.
But even though the guy was more aggressive, he was pushing the guy. If that boy, the young black man, if he did have a gun and he just shot him, the little black boy would have been in trouble. Because we don't get the same privilege.
But think about it, because not all young black boys, have access to a gun or even raised that way, right?
No, we
think
don't.
about the impact of having a grown man, just a grown man attacking you that way. You don't know what kind of mental switch that would happen for that kid. And some of our young black boys, they come from a tough place. They come from a place where they're constantly defending themselves. So had he come across a different type of young man, he would have got put down.
Oh yeah, definitely, hands down.
He would have just got knocked out, like straight up. You just touch me again, or just on the strength, you walking in my circle, you too close. We don't do that.
But he knew. See,
so,
they pick and choose.
He better be glad that he. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He better be glad that he used his discernment to know he could get away with certain things with this particular young man. Not to say that this young man is weak or should have done anything aggressively or anything like that, because his life was in danger. You know what I mean? In a sense, he responded the best way he could, which is fine, because he's still here today, right? He's alive.
And he was smart enough to make sure his friend was recording everything too. And he's like, "You recording? Yeah, okay. Make you getting all this? I got all this, all right." Because honestly, at the end of the day, people still keep recording, because unfortunately, if there's no recording evidence of what things happen, we may never know whatever happened, right? Think about it. Think about the person who recorded Mr. George Floyd for that 9 minutes, right? Imagine if they didn't record it. We wouldn't have any film, because let's be honest, when the police do have footage, they hold on to that stuff. They hold on to it. They don't release it right away. And listen, and some of y'all pay attention. If you really pay attention, if you notice, they released that video of the girl being shot so quickly, right? Do they normally do that when a cop has a confrontation with anyone else? They don't never release that footage that quick. They released that footage within hours of the cop shooting that girl, right? But you know why? They released the video because they believe it's a shoe-in. Like, okay, he did exactly what he's supposed to do. Like, he came near, he showed up, he said stop, and then he shoot, and they feel like it's justified, right?
And it's on they have an agenda to perpetuate retaliation for us to act out of character. Y'all thought y'all had a moment, but look at this. It's to break down the psychological.
I agree. You breaking up a little bit, but I agree. I agree. Hold on, let me see. Maybe I'm breaking up. Nope, I'm good. Ladies and gentlemen, we're still here. This is The Real Deal versus How You Feel. Once again, the topic we're talking about today is senseless shooting and the impact of the leaves. It's I Speak Live. You can hear me right now. It's showing connected on my screen with you. But I just want to say also what she was saying, that, as soon as the verdict came in and he's found guilty, and then we turn around, we have another person killed, and they're going to use that. Well, she had a knife, so it was justified. So it just kind of unbalanced the win that we just have. So I believe that's where she was going with that. Ms. I Speak Live, you still there? You
go. Almost like the old. Here I go. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was breaking up a little bit. Sorry, guys. But I'm saying that on different levels, there's a breakdown where this could impact someone to say, okay, well, you could feel like, oh, y'all want to celebrate? Well, guess what? We just gonna let y'all see this right here. Celebrate that.
Right.
Or or because it don't make sense. Like you said, when have you ever seen When have you ever seen that we get this information or we get wind of something like a body cam footage same day?
Same day.
Like where that happen at?
Where that happens?
Yeah, that don't happen.
Within hours. Like, hey, and they're gonna try to say, "Oh, we had to get this out right away because the verdict had happened." So, like, nah, you got it out because you believe it was an open closed case.
Right, or it's an open closed case.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? We good. Now we got one where nobody's going to jail. He's not going to jail, and y'all still lost one.
Right. Let me hit play here, okay? We got one
right,
now.
Go ahead.
Yep.
What up, Twinsinc and this I Speak Life. What is up? Happy Friday, you guys. And I absolutely agree, man. I really feel like it was released real quick, but it's caused such a divide, bro. I was in a conversation earlier. I mean, people were, my thing is this: by law, so long as we have these laws that protect officers or that advise that, fatally, shooting somebody and shooting to kill, that's how they're trained, that, by law, like 9 times out of 10, we going to get like a little breadcrumb of justice for this girl or nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? Because the way the law is set up. And so, people were cussing each other out, bringing their kids into it. I mean, this man was like, basically told this other dude that he was a little bitch and that it should have been his daughter. I mean, it's dividing us.
I agree. It's definitely dividing us.
Wow, thank you for that.
Yes. I agree with you saying. It's definitely bringing a divide because I've seen people with multiple posts, right, to justify what the cop did to him, justify the cop shooting her, right, like she did have a knife. And and the thing is this, I'm not arguing that. Here's the only thing that no one can debate on this, right? So, Antoinette, we had a conversation with your people. Tell them this. We have mass shooters who then killed people in a movie theater. It done killed people at schools. We have killed people at a massage parlor, killed people at restaurants. And guess what? And churches. And guess what? All those people get handcuffed with no scratches. End of argument. That's all you got to say to them. End of argument. Because I don't watch this video right now where the cop was fighting. I saw a video of a white guy with a knife actually swinging at cops with a knife. And for some reason, they was able to tase him and take him down with no problem. Wow, the irony of that. So, so when people
the fact that our minds go to trying to justify the loss of life without any type of empathy, nothing hits us like, oh my God, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's life is gone. It just goes, who's right, who's wrong. Who did what? That is the desensitization. That is it right there. It should just be an automatic. Before I open my mouth to try to figure out if she deserved it or not, right? Who deserves to lose their life? And who are you to decide that?
That part right there.
That man's life wasn't at risk. She wasn't a threat to him. Even if, she would have turned around and faced him. That's why the training is a part of it, right? That's why there's a thing called the taser versus the bullet. He shot her in her chest 4 times. Pop, pop, pop. The first time, he didn't even pause to see if she was hit to the point where she was no longer a threat to anyone. What was the necessity? What was the need for the other 3 shots?
Listen, another thing about that same video, when he shot her, right, was if you pay attention and watch the video, look at the couple on the right side near the vehicle. It's a black man and probably his wife or another grown woman, right? And how upset he was, right? And I felt his upset. He's like, she's just a baby. Here's the problem that I have there. My brother, why didn't you break it up before you even got to that point? Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem that we have in our communities. If we know we can't call the cops, if we know we call the cops, it's going to go from 0 to 1,000. Why can't we step in and try to de-escalate the issue before it gets too far, right? Now, granted, I don't know the full story how it
Right.
happened because she might have said something. She said something. You know, it could have went that route. We don't know, but it's too late now to be
Mhm.
frustrated and upset as he shot the little girl. I mean, these girls are 15, 14, 15, whatever. You could have went in there and just pushed them all out the way, right? If you needed to. But
Right.
so we need like you
I
saying
mean, but
earlier.
then that gets tricky too
I
because
know.
then
That's
here we go. Nobody wants to put their life at risk. They got things they got to protect, and this is where we need to really consider how the ancestors did it, right? Because they did risk their lives for each other. You wouldn't have an underground railroad if somebody didn't put their life on the line for others. That's what that was.
I agree.
So we have to get to the point where we understand the value of life and we support each other in the way where you know what? No, I'm if you know like you said, that man could have picked up one of those girls probably himself. But in his mind, and this is not to say that we know for sure, this is just me, speaking objectively, he's probably thinking, okay, well, what if she stabbed me, or what if I get arrested because she filed a civil suit against me, or somebody come and retaliate against me, or I don't know. And because we don't know, because we live amongst each other and don't know each other and don't hold each other accountable,
Facts.
these things continue to happen.
Ooh.
That young girl should have never been approached at her home.
Right. And also, Miss I Speak Live, think about this, right? The risk of trying to protect, right? And this conversation can go a whole different route, right? Because we have a conversation away about why black men don't protect our women, right? So, like you say, maybe he didn't want to jump in, get involved, get stabbed, whatever, right? Well, we have a prime example of a black man stepping in. You remember the guy? I can't think of his name, and I do apologize, but it's so bad that every other month someone's getting shot, right? But think about the black guy who came to break up a fight between two women, right? And and when police got there, he was leaving, and the police shot him in the back, and he's paralyzed now. Remember that guy?
No,
you don't.
That one. Okay. So you just making me aware of that, nope.
Yeah, but most people know. But the guy, he broke up the fight between two women, and he was walking away. And of course, the police were telling him, don't move, stay. But he said, my kid's in the car, I got to go, right? I was just trying to break it up. But the cops shot the man in the back. I think they shot him 7 times, I believe so. But he's paralyzed now. So, once again, but
then that still goes back to how we respond to the police. See, it'd be different if you said another black person showed up and they retaliated because they thought he was doing something to one. Right. That's different. But when the police put you and tell you stop, whatever, you have to cancel all of that and just listen.
And that's it right there.
Unfortunately, that be the difference between loss of life and life.
Yeah. And
from what I've observed, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm not saying that there are no instances where there was no way to prevent it, because you have the Breonna Taylor,
Yeah.
So there's times where it's still really unclear. But from the things that I've observed, where life was still, where in terms of the police officers, because when you mentioned Trayvon Martin, of course, what did that young man do? It's not he could have done.
Nothing.
That other man was on a mission, So I'm talking about when the police are involved, because they already have a sense of authority and entitlement, and they're fearful, and all of these things. Just put your ego, your color, all of that. You're gonna have to, and this is what I tell my son. You know what I mean? If my brothers, if you're approached by the law, understand that whatever comes out your mouth don't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So if it don't matter, the only thing the least you could do is just make sure they see your hands and be cooperative.
Yeah, that's a fact. We need to have these conversations.
Stay silent. Let them see your hands. Cooperate. Don't talk. Say you want a lawyer. You know what I mean? I'm not saying submit to them in a way where you endanger yourself even more. But in terms of not putting yourself in an aggressive situation with the police, freeze. Ain't that what they say? First and foremost, freeze.
Well,
All right,
no,
freeze.
I mean technically,
Whatever I was doing, I ain't doing.
It's the problem is that we, and I say we, us Black African Americans,
Mm-hmm.
we are too prideful, right? We don't know when to listen, to follow the instruction. At the end of the day, once again, when you're on the street, where you're out and about, and the police have the full reign. The police is the judge, jury, and executor when you're in the street. So if they got a gun pointing at you and they're telling you to stop doing something, you have to do it, regardless of knowing your rights, regardless on how you feel. If you know your rights, good. Say nothing, go to court, and fight it. That's how you're going to win. You will never win an argument in the street with a police officer. It's the same way if you're walking, if somebody run up on you with a gun and say, give me everything, what you going to do? I'm not giving you nothing. No, here, man, take it off. Here's my cell phone. Here's my wallet. Here's my PIN code. Here's the keys to my car. Just take it off.
And it goes back to the understanding of value of life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand how valuable your life is. These material things, this pride. Listen, you can go to therapy on that. You can replace those things. You can't just come back to life. You're gone at that point. So do what you need to do to preserve life, because we need you. If you a Black man out there and you haven't heard these words, all your life in the past, I need you. We need you. Do not let this agenda get you distracted. You are valuable. Matter of fact, you're the MVP. From one Black woman from my lips to your ears, we need you. So if that means you have to suck up your pride, if that means this is all a part of understanding your value. I suppress my pride so that I live, so that I could still be there for my family, so that I could still be there for my loved ones, so I could still make a difference or do whatever it is I'm assigned to do. Do not allow pride to be your fall. It's senseless. It goes right into the senselessness.
That part right
you
there.
are needed. You're necessary, and your life is valuable. And don't fall prey to the narratives that are being pushed. I don't care if they're using Black women to push the narrative. Don't believe that junk. It's pure tea nonsense, and it's definitely not the heart of all Black women. I can tell you that right now.
Facts.
So, yeah, it's all a part of the agenda. All a part of the agenda. They used us against us. They've been using us against us. So don't be surprised if it's a narrative being pushed by people that look like you. Start to educate them. You know what? You are being a part of the problem. You don't have to go back and forth and get aggressive and all of that. Don't allow your pride to come into play there. You could still be humble. And I tell men all the time, help the queen adjust the crown. Because it's the way you respond to a situation that can align a woman up, or that can perpetuate the situation and she goes into some other, something else. And if you can't do it, if you're not the man for the job, all right, cool. No problem. It might need to be done by somebody else, another woman. Maybe a woman listening to this needs to hear, we need men. We need our Black men. Maybe she's falling subject to the feminism movement or whatever. She needs to hear that from a woman. So again, from my lips to your ears, Black woman, we need our Black men.
Hand claps. I agree.
We're not built for these things. We need our Black men. And if you're falling subject to the independent woman thing, then you are allowing yourself to be a part of the problem, because you are in pride.
That part. Talk to him. Talk to him, Miss I Speak Life.
I ain't here to preach to nobody, but that's not okay. You know what I mean? We have to hold each other accountable. Go ahead. We got a message.
Yep.
That's facts. And, I was just It just sucks. It really does. Like they have the 21-foot rule, and it advises that if someone is within 21 feet of a person, they're trying to attack them with a knife, that the officer is supposed to shoot 2 rounds into the, what is it called, center mass, which is the torso area. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, bro, that's gonna, you're gonna fatally wound somebody. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's a very unfortunate situation. But I be telling people, like, if we gotta start getting involved in our local politics and shit. The move that killed George Floyd, it should have been banned.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? The chokehold that killed Eric Garner. I can't do that. You know that chokehold is illegal for us.
Facts.
So why is the police still able to use shit like that? You know what I'm saying? We gotta look at solutions. If not, the next generation is gonna be going through the same shit.
I agree.
Exactly, Queen. Exactly. And we have to be able to listen to the people, our people, because it impacts us all differently, so that way we can actually assess where they're coming from and help them get to a clarity place, right? If you're desensitized, I'm not going to, I'm not about to bash you or anything. I have to get to why don't you feel anything anymore? And then help you see where you could still be a part of the solution instead of avoiding it altogether. If you are overly heightened sensitive about this and you want a mission and you want to kill this person and do all this damage, and then I need to listen to you to see how you arrive at this heightened sensitivity, or, you feel so sympathetic that you are, so we can get you to a better position where you could be a part of the solution and not be a part of the problem. So it does. It takes us to listen to each other and hear where we're coming from, because a lot of this is just senseless. It's just senseless. It don't make sense. No sense at all.
And what she said was definitely important, that for us to make a change here, we do have to start with our youth. We have to educate them and let them know that, because most of the black neighborhoods, we raise our kids to be like, hey, you could be the next Michael Jordan, you could be the next Joe Montana or something, to these sports, which is cool to play sports, nothing wrong with it, but the education is cool. We need more judges, we need more local mayors, we need more people in the legal system so we can make a change and have balance. And then once we get into these legal systems and these positions where we can make change, we can't sell out. We can't be silent. We can't be quiet when something happens, because we do have people in these places now, but they sell us out. They they come a check and they say nothing. No, we need some people gonna be held accountable,
because they don't see their value.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see how valuable they are to the move, to our coming out of the muck. It becomes a selfish journey. You know what I mean? Well, I gotta just protect mine. Oh, these jokers, they don't want to change. They don't want to know better. No, you're not listening to them. Right. You haven't found out what landed them in this position. You don't know what the community needs because you done left the community and you ain't gone back. That's a problem.
Right.
That's a problem. I'm just talking to a young man in one of these clubhouse rooms sometime this morning, whatever time it was, and they were talking about relationships. Of course, it's all black women, black men type of thing. Not really understanding you're perpetuating the issue, but okay, listen, if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it from a love perspective. Okay. If you love this woman, regardless of whatever, you ended up finding enough in her to understand love, to still meet her somewhere, and she meets you somewhere. She compliments you in some way, but she has children, and you're listening to a narrative that, if a woman has kids, she doesn't have value. You are part of the problem because you don't know who you are. You're part of the problem because you're not listening to your own self. We have to stop projecting on these young people. When we talk about educating them, let's educate them rightly. Properly. Train them properly. Not based on your hurts, your traumas.
That's true.
It's listen to them. Listen to where they are. Look at the world we live in right now. You want to talk about what happened in when you were coming up. But the world's not the same when you were coming up. Not saying that some things aren't the same, but there's a lot of significant differences. These kids are at a computer all day at home.
Right. And what you do is you take your life experiences as far as what you've been through, and you take that information and you share the knowledge from what you learned from it. You know what I'm saying? Not for what you was hurt or you're angry about. No. Okay, I messed up here. So to avoid you in the future going down the same steps that I had, because I have someone tell me not to do this in this situation, here's the information I need to give out. Everyone does matter, and let's be honest, and I hear that narrative all the time, women with kids are not valued. Stop it. To each his own, to what you pick and choose, but let's stop broadcasting that message across the board everywhere that's it is for everyone. It's not. You have to find what's going to work for you. But I'm not going to go off that rabbit hole because that's a whole nother topic. But like I said.
Right, but the guys in the room kept trying to tell him, no, that's too much baggage. No. But wait a minute. You don't know how he's built. You haven't listened to him. You don't know his story. You don't know where he comes from. So how do you then tell him this person that he is, feeling this deeply about is not the person for him based on the fact that he has a child? That's immature. You're not responsible and accountable for your words. And I don't like that. That's my issue. When you're going to give information, then you need to be accountable and responsible for that information. Because that's why ignorance is bliss. Because people don't want to be responsible for what they know. Maya Angelou says it best. Do your best until you can do better. Once you know better, do better.
Know better, you do better. Correct. I understand. I agree.
And as we continue, we're coming to a close on this topic, guys. We do apologize for the delay. We started a little late today, but when we get to this point and we try to think on solutions, there may not be a one
size fits all.
One thing fix all.
Right.
Yeah. So it takes all of us to really start to do some self-research, self-inventory to see where we could be a part of the problem so that we can eliminate that and then begin to be a part of the solution. That means if I'm the type of person, I can't stand on the front lines because that's too much of a risk for me as a single mom, right? I can't. But I can make sure I'm at the polls. I can make sure I'm in the back end doing the research, right? I'm following them the information. I can make sure that I organize the meeting. You get what I'm saying?
Right, I agree.
I can use every platform that I have to make sure that Black men that ever hear my voice know that they're needed, that they're valuable. And that's not to coddle them. That's to empower them. Don't be lazy. You're needed. So it's not to be used in any other way but to empower the Black man to stand on his 10 toes down on what he believes in. And if you don't know what you believe in, then that lets you know. Go find out what is it that you stand for. Because if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And we have too much of that happening. We're falling. We're falling out of our family's lives. We're falling out of the role of, protection and fatherhood. And we're falling out of the roles of governing the house women and praying over our men and, making sure that they understand that we need them. We're falling out of our roles. So it ain't no blame game because too many people are participating in the problem. To point blame. So forget about who's to blame. Inventory, self-research. Look at yourself. Am I making sure that I let the Black man know that he's needed and I love him and I'm here for him praying on the back end? No, I'm not trying to sleep with you. No, I'm not trying to be your baby mama. No. Say no to the things you need to say no to, but then don't negate that this is still something that's necessary. It's almost like you can't have both. No, I need you. I'm not going to depend on you. Different.
Levels.
Totally different.
I understand.
And then I was in a room, and I don't know if you know Nasir, he was saying on a different level, if we kind of band together, and this was his idea, to say, well, we need to enforce or, come together where we decide they need to have insurance, similar to the doctors. So if a doctor has a malpractice suit, they lose their license, they get fined. So the chances of them just being willy-nilly out here with the scalpel knife or medication distribution or,
right.
Whatever, they take things into a little bit of a consideration because their license, their family legacy is on the line because they're no longer able to be that provider. If they got fines up the yin yang, they lose their license, how are they being the provider? And guess what, guys? Black men, those white men, that's what they value. They don't value showing off for their friends, because they all in the same spot. They all go to the same golf club. The same, what do you call those things?
What?
Those little clubs. They're all there.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it's called, So, but they don't want to be frowned upon. So when they're not providing for their family, those other men in their circle, they're frowned upon. They only want to tell them when they're going through financial issues or whatever. So they're definitely not trying to lose their license, So I thought that was a really powerful suggestion. This was some weeks ago, just talking about it in general. Why aren't the police enforced to having insurance? Heck, we got to have insurance. We can't drive our cars without insurance.
Right. Yeah, I got a message here. So, one of my good people, Seth the Darkchild, big shout out to you, homie, from the top team. But he said same thing you just said. You just said this. He said, make gun owners get liability insurance to make the system fix itself. So, yeah, that makes sense. And,
gun owners, in particular, police officers.
Yep. And I'm almost 100% sure that's what he's alluding to. Because if everyone has a gun, you're required for every bullet that comes out and wherever it goes. So the lady, like I said, the police
but
officer,
you don't even want them to have that little underline. Oh, well, this is owned by the city. This I don't own this. No. You got a badge. For you to obtain a badge, you need to have insurance.
Facts.
For you to obtain the license, a medical practice license, you have to have insurance. You have to be a part of associations and pay into those associations, AAMA or whatever it's called. I was a medical assistant at one point in my life, so you have to pay into these associations. You have to keep your certifications up. That should be no different. That's what you were saying earlier with the tactical learning. That should be something that's training. You should be getting those recertifications, recertified.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't be where you just out here 20-some years on the force and talk about you can say something like, I made a mistake and pulled my gun instead of my taser.
Like, just think about it. We work for these corporate America companies, right? Whatever we do. If I accidentally slip out some information that wasn't supposed to get out before a launch date, guess what? I lose my job. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep, HIPAA law.
I can't say, oh, I accidentally meant to hit copy, but I hit send, and then, no. If I send something out and it wasn't supposed to go out to the whole world before a launch date, you lose my job. Same thing with these police officers or anyone. You need to be held accountable for your actions. And also, Steph said, stop letting the city pay these lawsuits. Each officer should carry personal coverage. I agree. Because when people get shot and killed in the system, the city pays the fee, right? It's not the police family, They pay the fee. That's why I never get happy when they get fired, right? Or if they resign. That does nothing for you. No. First off, they need a felony on their record. So one, it makes it hard for them to get a job anywhere else. So they can understand what it be a black person in America trying to get a job. One should get a felony, number one. And also, like Seth Darkchild just said, they should have liability insurance. So guess what? If they kill somebody and it was unjustified, guess what? You're paying that family out of your life insurance policy. Just that simple.
Correct.
Just that simple.
Right.
And now, with that being said,
now if they had that, that's definitely going to have them think twice before they go left, right, or busting it. 4, 5, 7 shots. There's no need for all of that.
Listen, that
standing on a man's neck for 9 minutes. That's not necessary.
And my thing
but
is
now,
this.
see, you'll have your family in the back of your head.
Right, but listen to this though. So only one cop. Listen, only one cop was found guilty. Only one of them. I mean, I get it. He was the one who was on the neck. I get that, right? You understand what I'm saying? I get that. He was the one who was on the neck.
Mm-hmm.
But listen to this. If me, you, Seth the Dark Child, we go rob a bank, right?
Association.
Right. If we go rob a bank right now, but we sit in the car the whole time, right? Seth go in there and rob the bank and everything and jump in the car, we drive off, and we get caught, right? Guess what? We all go to jail. So I don't understand how all the it was three or four cops was sitting on him. One was on his neck. So all three of them should be guilty because not one of them did anything to stop the other one. That's what I always say.
Not only that, but they all had the same training. So even if you forgot or if you weren't aware, you got the training. Wait, bro, this not how we train. We don't do that.
That's why I always say.
We can't do this.
That's why I always say.
No
good cops wear.
accountability. So, yeah, and I definitely, as we continue to talk about solutions, because the real deal versus how you feel, we are solution driven and progression driven. We're not here to just talk about topics and continue to perpetuate negative energy. We're here to really, listen and hear what people have to say when you guys drop your messages. We appreciate the interaction. And then we try to provide what we feel could benefit the people, And I told him before, and not when it was Nasir making the point of, having coverage for the individual officers, that liability, that'll definitely change the trajectory of how far or how easily they shoot, for sure. But then also, one of the things was that we as a people, we need a dogma. We need to stand behind a certain principle that we stand behind. We not all believe in the same religion or don't serve the same God. Cool. That's all fine and well. But we all have one sentiment, right? We all want to live.
That's true.
Right?
Right.
Now, we can start building on our similar sentiments and start to build principles from that. Forget what we don't agree on. Let's start from what we do agree on.
We all can agree that we all want to live. That's one thing we can agree on. If we don't agree on nothing else, do you want to live? Yes. All right. So let's start there.
We want to live. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? And stop. We get caught up and we get distracted, And I'm not coming for the Black Lives Movement. I'm not coming for any of, our people who are, trying to make a difference. But I just feel like some of these places are not listening to the community enough to know how to move forward on our behalf.
Right.
You haven't gotten a certain principle that we all could subscribe to. So you might get a few to follow the movement, but it don't really, apply to everyone. And not saying that everything's going to apply to everyone, but if we start with the basics of what applies to everyone, we want to live. We want to live peacefully. I don't know a Black person that's like, nah, I just wanted to be, turned up all the time. No, I don't know that person. I know that person that is turned up because of their environment, but I don't know a person at their core that desires to be in that environment.
That part right there. I agree.
So we want to live. We want to live peacefully. We want to live equally. I don't know people like, no, I don't want them to have nothing. I don't know anybody like that. As long as it don't take food out of my mouth, then what do I care if you have food too? I don't want to see a dead body next to me because they ain't eating, so I'm going to share my food. But see, then the issue is, but what if we don't have enough food? We all want enough food for all of us to eat, right? So these are the things that we can start on. We want to make sure we have enough. We want to make sure it's lasting. We can maintain it. Let's start talking about that. Sustaining and maintaining a basic lifestyle. Because what's happening is people are living lavish lifestyle and they don't feel loved. They're not complete either. Don't get it twisted. And then you got people living in the gutter. But if you take the scale and you balance it out, guess what? We live longer. we'd be able to sustain longer and maintain.
Yep. I have another message here. So, Seth Darchild said we must start to take the block back, or take back. I'm sorry. We must start to take our community back, one at a time. We don't need a nationwide movement, but just to get to know everyone in our block. So that it starts there, people. It starts at home. Because if everyone in that neighborhood in Ohio where the girl got shot and killed by the police, if everyone knew each other in the neighborhood, that situation shouldn't even escalate to that part. We should have been able to de-escalate that issue. And if we did have to still call the cops, the two girls would have been already separated to where when they got there, no one would have got shot. Someone might have got arrested.
Right, the girl would just got right.
You might get arrested, but you're still alive.
Or disciplined.
Right. But you live to see another day. You take that opportunity as a learning lesson, right? And everyone keeps going on, right? We still should be celebrating of the events that happened Wednesday. But because Wednesday happened for a couple hours, now we're back in the same place we were the whole year. Now we got another whole year to see how this trial go with this case, and we got to see how the trial goes for the person who got shot with a taser or with a gun. It's just, where do we like, where's the crossing line at? Or, matter of fact, where's the starting line? Because honestly, we're starting all over again now, people. If you think we're winning, there's no win anywhere. We're at the starting line all over again to try to get some ground, because we just lost the ground. But we need to get back of taking care of our neighborhoods. We got to get back to knowing our neighbors, knowing the kids. You see something, you say something. It's just that simple. And I understand, there's certain things you can't do. You don't want to be involved. Got these Me Too movement. I get all these things going on. Like I get it, fellas. You don't want to get too much involved because you don't want to risk your life. I get it. But when it comes to kids, at least for kids, a situation like that with kids should never escalate it. Never. Even if like when I was growing up, if we got in a fight in the neighborhood and outside, the parents come out and say, you break it up. I'm going to call you to tell your dad and blah, 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 blah. And guess what? We're going to break it up or we'll take it somewhere else. But it is not going to escalate to someone getting a knife and then cops pulling up. No. I'm more worried of getting beat by my parents than getting arrested. So, yeah. We must take care of home first, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
We must take
At
care of home.
some point, you got to decide, you know what? This is worth the risk.
Right. Okay.
At some point, you got to decide. This baby's life is worth the risk. At some point, we got to decide that.
Right.
Otherwise, we're not getting anywhere.
Right. I'm tired of doing hashtags.
If everything you have is more valuable than a life, because it's at home, we don't fully understand that.
Right.
That's just my take on it. But, I'm glad we were able to get to some type of, solutions and
always
ideas of progression.
Got to start somewhere. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in today on the show. It was definitely a very deep one. Senseless shootings and impact of the lead. And this conversation still needs to be going on. So even if you're home with your loved ones, if you do have neighbors you talk to, you need to have this conversation with them to say, what do we do if a situation like this happen in our neighborhood? How do we handle this?
Mm-hmm.
We need to come up with a structure plan. Even if it's just your own family, in your own household. Babe, what do we do if our kids or if our neighbors' kids, what we going to do? You need to have a game plan. Okay, well, you grab the camera because I'm going to go out there, but I need you to record everything. So X, Y, Z, so you see I'm coming to help. I'm not jumping nobody. You got to come on a game plan. So this is The Real Deal. This is how you feel. Thanks for tuning in. Questions, concerns, send email at The Real Deal.
And if you don't do anything else, every time you see a black man, you can encourage that black man, let that black man know he's needed. Every time you see a black woman, you let that black woman know she got a crown. What we got to stop doing is falling into the narrative of us against us. Don't be a part of that. Don't be a part of the problem that way. And that's just simple. You don't have to do nothing for that man. You don't have to do nothing for that woman, but give positive words of encouragement and keep it pushing. So that's all I have on that.
All right. Well, everybody have a great weekend. It is Friday, so be safe out there in these streets. Everyone, please. I don't want to hear about nobody getting shot and killed tonight. I hope tomorrow. Hope I turn the news on tonight and here's a great day. No one killed. Everyone's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Love each other. And we'll see you
Right.
Monday at 3 p.m. I'm out.
Right. Bye.
Later.